الله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وجاء إخوة يوسف فدخلوا عليه فعرفهم وهم له منكرون. ولما جهزهم بجهازهم قال ائتوني بأخ لكم من أبيكم ألا ترون أني أوفي الكيل وأنا خير المنزلين فإن لم تأتوني به فلا كيل لكم عندي ولا تقربون. قالوا سنراود عنه أباه وإنا لفاعلون. صدق الله العظيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. We said last Friday, that if there is a halftime for Surah Yusuf, then this would be the point where we can say up to here, up to this point where he becomes the ruler of the land is the first half. With his humble beginnings, from the bottom of a well, he becomes the ruler of Egypt after going through all that he has gone through. Now starts the second half. And the second half, after he becomes the ruler, simply starts with ayat number 58, وَجَاءَ إِخْوَةُ يُوسُف, and the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam came. فَدَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ, they entered upon him. فَعَرَفَهُمْ, he recognized them. وَهُمْ لَهُ مُنْكِرُونَ, they did not recognize him. Hold on a second. A lot of things happened right there between the previous ayat 57 and 58. Almost 7, 8, 9 years went by between ayat 57 and 58. 57 was he became the ruler of the land. Okay, that's well and good. Then what happened? The brothers of Yusuf didn't just come in as soon as he became ruler of the land. First, they had 7 years of good harvest, right? And according to Yusuf alayhi salam's wise 7-year economic plan, like countries have a 5-year economic plan, Yusuf alayhi salam had a 7-year plan, actually a 14-year plan. That 7 years of good harvest, we're going to store it. We're not going to eat it all up. We're not going to waste it. We're going to keep the surplus for our 7 years of drought. So they had 7 good years of harvest. Now the drought has started. And this is probably the first, maybe second, maybe third year of drought. And the drought has spread so far and wide, it's not only in Egypt, but all the way to Canaan or Palestine or Sham, this area. And people begin to find out that Egypt, they are selling surplus wheat. They have a surplus and they are selling it. And Yusuf alayhi salam, due to his planning, his wisdom, not only his wisdom but his organizational skills, he had given clear instructions that were based on fairness, that we will ration it off. We're not just going to give based upon money. No matter how much money you brought, doesn't mean just because you had a lot of money you could buy all the wheat of Egypt. No, every person we would sell him only 1 camel load for a year. So each person was allowed 1 camel load of wheat, and that camel load of wheat was his ration for 1 whole year, for 12 months. So Yaqub alayhi salam, he hears about this, that Egypt is selling their surplus wheat. He sends his sons. And Yusuf alayhi salam had instructed there would be someone by the gate of the city, or gate of the palace, somewhere before they actually came to him, where they would take down notes. Who's coming, how many people are coming, where they're coming from. So when you know, like sitting in Salt Lake City, if you know someone has come from your hometown, the town that you're from, right, that increases your interest. So there's 10 people who are coming 10 bags. Yusuf alayhi salam knows, based on someone who was taken down, sitting on a bench, probably somewhere towards the gate of the city, the gate that led into the city, that there's these 10 people who are coming from his hometown. So he probably connected the dots very easily. Okay, who else could they be? So Quran says, وَجَاءَ إِخْوَةُ يُوسُف, ayat 58, the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam came. They entered upon him. He recognized them. وَهُمْ لَهُ مُنْكِرُونَ, and they did not recognize him. So one reason is he had advance notice, 10 people coming from his hometown. Number two is that they saw him when he was very young, in his childhood, 7, 8, 10, maybe 11, maybe 12, when they put him in a well. The maximum age is probably 12. And a person changes a lot from his childhood to adulthood. And they, on the contrary, were all adults. They were teenagers, or in their early 20s, when they dumped him in a well. And a person, he doesn't change much. At least his physical features don't change much from his teenage to his adulthood. So they could not recognize him because when was the last time they had seen him? When he was very, very young. And of course, he had seen them when they were much older and they had not changed much. I have a third reason. He had advance notice they were coming. But they were not expecting him in a place. They were not, when you see someone in a place where you don't expect him to be, it's not easy to recognize him. You see the point? If someone sees me at the gym, they're like, and they see me in my gym clothes, they're like, do we know you? Do I know you? I'm like, no, you don't know. He's probably sitting in the second row every Friday. But he sees me in my gym clothes, he doesn't expect me to be there. So what does he say? Do I know you? So they were seeing Yusuf alayhi salam in a place where they could not even imagine him to be. So of course they did not recognize him. وَلَمَّا جَهَّزَهُمْ بِجَهَازِهِمْ. Jahaza, think of it as jahiz. وَلَمَّا جَهَّزَهُمْ بِجَهَازِهِمْ. When they furnished him, when he furnished them with provisions, with wheat, قَالَ أَتُونِي بِأَخٍ لَكُم مِّنْ أَبِيكُمْ. Yusuf alayhi salam said, bring me your brother from your father. What happened, again, Quran is not going to go into every details, but between the lines, or as I say, between the ayats, something else happened. What happened? This is what happened. They said, well, there's 10 of us, so you have given us 10 camel loads of wheat. But we have a brother, number 11, Binyamin. And can we take a camel load of wheat for him? So Yusuf alayhi salam got the excuse to make further inquiries and said, oh, you do have a brother, do you? And you want a camel load of wheat for him? Well, okay, I will give you an 11th camel load of wheat, but on the condition that next time you come, which is next year, because they only get one camel load a year, so next time you come, make sure you bring him. See what happened? وَلَمَّا جَهَّزَهُمْ بِجَهَازِهِمْ. When he furnished them with provisions, with their provisions, قَالَ أَتُونِي بِأَخٍ لَكُم مِّنْ أَبِيكُمْ. He said, bring me your brother that you have from your father. In other words, the father is the same, the mother is different, correct? أَلَا تَرَوْنَ أَنِّي أُوفِي الْكَيْلِ. Don't you see, أَنِّي أُوفِي الْكَيْلِ, that I give full measure. وَأَنَا خَيْرُ الْمُنزِلِينَ, and I am a gracious host. I am the best host. فَإِن لَمْ تَأْتُونِي بِهِ, and if you do not bring him, number 11, فَلَا كَيْلَ لَكُمْ. That means you are lying. All right? You're just trying to con me. You're trying to take an extra camel load of wheat from me. So فَإِن لَمْ تَأْتُونِي بِهِ, if you do not bring him, فَلَا كَيْلَ لَكُمْ, عِنْدِي. You will have no measure with me. You will receive no further wheat. وَلَا تَقْرَبُونَ. Don't even come. وَلَا تَقْرَبُونَ. Don't even bother coming near me. قَالُوا سَنُرَاوِدُ عَنْهُ أَبَاهُ. They said, we will seek permission for him, for Binyamin, from his father. They said, we will seek permission for him from his father. وَإِنَّا لَفَاعِلُونَ. And we will do it. Yusuf alayhi salam had to be probably smiling at this point because they sought permission for him also, right? And what are they saying here? وَإِنَّا لَفَاعِلُونَ. We know how to do it. We can do it. وَقَالَ لِفِتْيَانِهِ اجْعَلُوا بِضَاعَتَهُمْ فِي رِحَالِهِمْ. Yusuf alayhi salam said to his servants, اجْعَلوا بِضَاعَتَهُمْ فِي رِحَالِهِمْ. Put their money in their luggage, in their bags. The money for which they bought this wheat, give it back to them. Put it in their luggage. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَعْرِفُونَهَا. So that they might know it, they might recognize it. إِذَا انْقَلَبُوا إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهِمْ. When they return to their families, لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. So that they can return. When they see their money has been returned to them and they've gotten the goods, that will be an incentive for them to come back. Because the goal is that they should bring Binyamin. They should come back, and they should come back with Binyamin. Because first of all, Yusuf alayhi salam is probably thinking, what happened if they don't have the money? He's not just handing out food. You have to buy your food. Maybe there were special cases if you could not afford it, but you had to buy your food, your rations. So what happened if they did not have the money? They might not come back. And second, they need to know that this king, this ruler of Egypt, he's very gracious, he's very honorable. They should feel some level of comfort with him. So when they see that their money has been returned, then they have no reason to fear him. فَلَمَّا رَجَعُوا إِلَىٰ أَبِيهِمْ. When they return to their father, all in all, they will come 4 times. They will come 4 times to Egypt. Okay. So this is the first trip they made. فَلَمَّا رَجَعُوا إِلَىٰ أَبِيهِمْ. When they returned to their father, قَالُوا يَا أَبَانَا. They said, "O our father, مُنِيَ مِنَّا الْكَيْلِ. We can get no further wheat. We cannot get any wheat in the future. فَأَرْسِلْ مَعَنَا أَخَانَا. Send with us our brother, نَقْتَلْ. Then we will get our full measure. Send with us our brother, so we can get our full measure. وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. And we will guard him, we will protect him. Didn't they say this about Yusuf before? The exact same words. وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. We will protect him. So what does Yaqub alayhi salam say? قَالَ هَلْ آمَنُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ. Shall I entrust Binyamin to you? كَمَا أَمِنْتُكُمْ عَلَىٰ أَخِيهِ مِنْ قَبْلِ. As I entrusted his brother to you before. Shall I entrust Binyamin to you as I entrusted his brother Yusuf to you before this? فَاللَّهُ خَيْرٌ حَافِظًا. Allah is but always he reverts back to Allah. You will see this with Yaqub alayhi salam again and again and again and again and again. فَاللَّهُ خَيْرٌ حَافِظًا. Allah is the best protector. وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. And he is the most merciful out of all those who show mercy. Mother should read this over her children when they're departing, whether it be for school or on a journey, on a trip. فَاللَّهُ خَيْرٌ حَافِظًا. وَلَمَّا فَتَحُوا مَتَاعَهُمْ. And when they opened their bags, وَجَدُوا بِضَاعَتَهُمْ رُدَّتْ إِلَيْهِمْ. They found that their money had been returned to them. Because up to this point, Yaqub alayhi salam is not fully convinced. And they're about to give up. But then should I say, that ploy that Yusuf alayhi salam, what was it? Putting the money back in their luggage, that worked. Because now, وَلَمَّا فَتَحُوا مَتَاعَهُمْ, when they opened their luggage, وَجَدُوا بِضَاعَتَهُمْ, they found that their money had been returned to them. قَالُوا يَا أَبَانَا, they said, "Oh, our father, مَا نَبْغِي." The perfect translation, مَا نَبْغِي, what else do we want? What else could we ask for? هَذِهِ بِضَاعَتُنَا رُدَّتْ إِلَيْنَا, this, our money, has been returned to us. وَنَمِيرُ أَهْلَنَا, and we will feed our families. وَنَحْفَظُ أَخَانَا, and we will protect our brother. وَنَزْدَادُ كَيْلَ بَعِيرٍ, and we will increase our ration by 1 camel load. Because if they have an 11th brother, this time when they go, they'll get 11 camel loads of wheat for a second time. ذَلِكَ كَيْلُ يَسِيرٍ, this is an easy money. ذَلِكَ كَيْلٌ يَسِيرٌ, this is a no-brainer. ذَلِكَ كَيْلٌ يَسِيرٌ, this is an easy ration. قَالَ لَنْ أُرْسِلَهُ مَعَكُمْ, Yaqub alayhi salam said, I will not send him with you. حَتَّى تُؤْتُونِ مَوْثِقًا مِّنَ اللَّهِ, till you give me a solemn oath in the name of Allah. لَتَأْتُنَّنِي بِهِ, that you will surely bring him back. إِلَّا أَن يُحَاطَ بِكُمْ, but Yaqub alayhi salam is very practical. إِلَّا أَن يُحَاطَ بِكُمْ, unless it is beyond your control, unless it is beyond your, unless you are in such circumstances that you have no choice. Unless يُحَاطَ بِكُمْ, you are surrounded by enemies. فَلَمَّا آتَوْهُ, this is his trust in Allah. فَلَمَّا آتَوْهُ مَوْثِقَهُم, when they gave him their solemn oath, قَالَ اللَّهُ عَلَى مَا نَقُولُ وَكِيلٌ, Yaqub alayhi salam said, Allah is a witness over what we say. وَقَالَ يَا بَنِيَّ, and Yaqub alayhi salam said, verse number 67, لَا تَدْخُلُوا مِن بَابٍ وَاحِدٍ. Now they're going for the second time to Egypt. He's giving them instructions. He's giving them instructions on how they can protect themselves from any harm. This is his paternal instincts kicking in. After all they have done, he knows what they have done. He knows Yusuf alayhi salam is still alive. He knows they fabricated a lie, right? We'll come to that. There's an ayat that clearly. Why? How does he know Yusuf alayhi salam is alive? Because of the dream, right? The dream has to come true. He knows his sons have lied to him. But now he's still giving them instructions with fatherly love and affection on how they can protect themselves. Oh my sons, la tadkhulu min babin wahidin. The only reason is, at the end of the day, mother is a mother, father is a father. No matter what the son does, at the end of the day, you are the father, he is your son. No matter what the son or daughter does, at the end of the day, the motherly love will kick in. He says, "Oh my children, la tadkhulu min babin wahid. Do not enter from one gate." The city, in the olden days, had gates. Do not enter from one gate. وَادْخُلُوا مِنْ أَبْوَابٍ مُتَفَرِّقَةٍ. Enter from different gates. وَمَا أُغْنِي عَنْكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ شَيْئًا. Two reasons. Could be two explanations. One is that it could be what they call al-aynu haqqun, bad nazri. In other words, someone might cast an evil eye on you. You have 10 young, good-looking men entering from one gate, all brothers. So an evil eye, which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said does occur, and that could have a harmful effect on you. Second is, which is probably a better explanation, is that 10 people entering from one gate. If someone was out to harm you, to rob you, to cause you any harm, then you are a sitting duck, all 10 of you entering from one gate. All 10 of you will be harmed if you were ambushed. It's better that you enter from different gates. This happens, let me give you an example. Do you remember Egypt? Do you remember Egypt Air when it flew off from JFK and after a few minutes it crashed? Who remembers that? How long ago did it happen? Not too long. Huh?
It was in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, right? Egypt Air. Who was in that plane? Military. After they had taken 2 years of training in the U.S. How many of them were there?
200.
200. After taking 2 years of training in the U.S., they all got on one plane. And there are eyewitnesses on the East Coast who say we saw something like a light, like a flare going in the direction of the plane. If they had followed this ayat, لا تدخلوا من باب واحد وادخلوا من أبواب متفرقة. They should not have gone on one plane. They should have gone on 2 different planes, or 3 different planes, or 4 different planes. Someone obviously wanted them dead. All 200 top brass military generals who had taken 2 years of training in the US. And now they're heading back to Egypt. And they're all sitting in one plane. See what happens? وَمَا أُغْنِي عَنْكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. And Yaqub alayhi salam is saying, وَمَا أُغْنِي عَنْكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. These instructions that I have given you, وَمَا أُغْنِي عَنْكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ شَيْئًا. This cannot help you. This cannot avail you in the least. If something is meant to happen, it will happen. This is just human endeavor to protect yourself from harm. Inil hukmu illa lillah. Indeed, command, order, ultimate decision belongs to Allah. Alayhi tawakkaltu. Upon Him I have put my trust. Wa alayhi falyatawakkalil mutawakkilun. And only upon Allah should those who put their trust. وَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا مِنْ حَيْثُ أَمَرَهُمْ أَبُوهُمْ. And when they entered as per the instructions of their father, مَا كَانَ يُغْنِي عَنْهُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. It did not avail them from what Allah had decided for them. It did not protect them. It was not of any avail to them. إِلَّا حَاجَةً فِي نَفْسِ يَعْقُوبَ قَضَاهَا. But this was an urge, a need in the heart of Yaqub alayhi salam that he wanted to fulfill. Out of the fatherly love for his sons and human endeavor, human effort to protect himself from harm, this is what Yaqub alayhi salam said to his sons. Otherwise, what was meant to happen was bound to happen. وَإِنَّهُ لَذُو عِلْمٍ لِمَا عَلَّمْنَاهُ. And he is indeed a man of knowledge, لِمَا عَلَّمْنَاهُ, because of what we have taught him. Yaqub alayhi salam is a person of knowledge, ذُو عِلْم, because عَلَّمْنَاهُ, we taught him. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. But most of the people do not know. This ayat is also very clear on tawakkul, on putting your trust in Allah. That yes, you should do what is best for you, using the intelligence that Allah has given you. And you should also protect yourself from harm. But in the end, it is Allah's decision. And this taking human measures to protect yourself from harm does not contradict the concept of tawakkul, putting your trust in Allah. وَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا عَلَى يُوسُفَ آوَى إِلَيْهِ أَخَاهُ. And when they entered upon Yusuf, now they come for the second time. وَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا عَلَى يُوسُف. And when they entered upon Yusuf, awa ilayhi akhahu. Yusuf alayhi salam, he brought his brother. Which one? Binyamin, of course. He brought his brother close to him. قَالَ إِنِّي أَنَا أَخُوكَ. I am your brother. فَلَا تَبْتَئِسْ. Do not grieve. بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. Because of what they had been doing. You get the sense here that Yusuf alayhi salam, they threw him in the well. But Binyamin, they did not leave him alone either. They probably gave him a hard time. So now, after enduring a lifetime of pain and hurt from his brothers, Binyamin is finally being told, "Fala tabta'is." I know what they are like. I know what they have done, what they've been doing. I know what you have suffered. I know what you have gone through. Fala tabta'is. Do not grieve. Everything will be okay now. I'm the bigger brother. Okay, older brother is here, don't worry. فَلَا تَبْتَئِسْ. Do not grieve. بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. Because of their treatment, because of what they have been doing. فَلَمَّا جَهَّزَهُمْ بِجَهَازِهِمْ. And when Yusuf alayhi salam furnished them with their wheat, جَعَلَ السِّقَايَةَ فِي رَحْلِ أَخِيهِ. He put the bowl فِي رَحْلِ أَخِيهِ, in his brother's bag. Bowl made out of gold, the king's bowl. He put it in his brother's bag. ثُمَّ أَذَّنَ مُؤَذِّنٌ. Then the caller called out, أَيَّتُهَا الْعِيرُ. So they're leaving now. Just as they're about to leave, a caller calls out, أَيَّتُهَا الْعِيرُ. O caravan, إِنَّكُمْ لَسَارِقُونَ. You are thieves. قالوا, they said, وَأَقْبَلُوا عَلَيْهِ. They turned around, turned towards his caller, as if you can imagine, what did you say? Who are you calling thieves? وَأَقْبَلُوا عَلَيْهِمْ. They turned towards them and said, مَاذَا تَفْقِدُونَ. What are you missing? قالوا, they said, نَفْقِدُ سُوَاءَ الْمَلِكِ. We are missing the king's bowl. وَلِمَنْ جَاءَ بِهِ حِمْلُ بَعِيرٍ وَأَنَا بِهِ زَعِيمٌ. And whoever brings the king's bowl back, himlu ba'id, he will have a camel's weight of wheat. That's the reward. That's the going currency, right? That's what everybody wants, wheat. So himlu ba'id, the reward of bringing the king's bowl back is a camel load of wheat. Wa ana bihi zaim, and I am bound to it. In other words, I am determined to bring this king's bowl back to the king. Qalu tallahi. They said, Tallahi. One is wallahi, one is tallahi. Tallahi has more emphasis than wallahi. Tallahi, they said, we swear by Allah. Laqad alimtum, you know, ma jitna li nufsida fil ard. We have not come to spread mischief in Egypt. Wa ma kunna sariqin, and we are not thieves. Qalu fama jaza'uhu. They said, what is the punishment? In kuntum kadhibin. What is the punishment of the thief? In kuntum kadhibin, if you are liars. Qalu, they replied, jaza'uhu man wujida fi rahlihi fahuwa jaza'uhu. They said, his punishment, in whose bag it is found, fahuwa jaza'uhu, he is the punishment. In other words, he will become the servant of the person he has stolen from. This is the punishment. كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الظَّالِمِينَ. This is how we punish the wrongdoers. This is according to the Sharia of Yaqub alayhi salam. Because they are asking, the servants of Yusuf alayhi salam are asking, who are they asking? They're asking the 10 brothers, what should be the punishment? What should be the punishment if we find the bowl? Usually the punishment is according to the land you are in. So if you travel overseas and you commit a crime overseas, then American law, even though you are an American citizen, is not going to apply. If you commit the crime in Japan, then the law of Japan is going to be applied on you, right? But in this case, the law of Egypt is not being applied. The servants are saying to them, what do you think the punishment should be? So the brothers are saying, well, this is the law that we follow. This is the law that we know of, that whoever steals, he comes into the servitude of the person he has stolen from. فَبَدَأَ بِعَوْئِيَتِهِمْ قَبْلَ وِعَاءِ أَخِيهِ. The servant of Yusuf alayhi salam began with their bags قَبْلَ وِعَاءِ أَخِيهِ, before the bag of his brother, before the bag of Binyamin. Why? Because if the servant went straight to Binyamin's bag, it was obvious, it would become obvious that they had placed it there, right? And Binyamin is being framed. And of course, Binyamin is in this. He knows what's happening. Remember, because Yusuf alayhi salam took him aside and said, don't worry, little brother, right? I got you. فَلَا تَبْتَئِسْ, don't grieve. So Binyamin is probably playing it cool. He knows what's happening. Of course, the other 10 are sweating it. فَبَدَأَ بِعَوْئِيَتِهِمْ, he begins with all the other bags. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then finally comes to bag number 11, Binyamin's bag. ثُمَّ اسْتَخْرَجَهَا, then he brings it out. Istakhraja gives you the understanding that even at this point, the servant didn't go straight for the bowl. He kind of looked around in the bag. Looked here, looked there, looked in this compartment, looked on the right side of the bag, looked on the left side of the bag. Then istakhraja. Then, aha, what's this? That's istakhrajaha. Now, see, English translation can't capture that, can it? Istakhrajaha. Min bi'a'i akhi. Then he brought it forth. Min bi'a'i akhi. From his brother's bag, from Binyamin's bag. كَذَلِكَ كِدْنَا لِيُوسُف. Now at this point you're probably thinking, is this kosher, what's going on here? Is it okay for Yusuf alayhi salam to do this? Isn't this a little cunning? Isn't this a little diabolical? Aren't prophets above this? Quran answers, كَذَلِكَ كِدْنَا لِيُوسُف. We taught this to Yusuf. We taught this ploy to Yusuf. We taught Yusuf that this is what he's to do. مَا كَانَ لِيَأْخُذَ أَخَاهُ فِي دِينِ الْمَلِكِ إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ. He would not be able to take his brother. Yusuf alayhi salam would not have been able to take his brother according to the law of the king. Remember we talked about the Sharia of Yaqub alayhi salam? إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ, unless Allah willed. نَرْفَعُ دَرَجَاتٍ مَنْ نَشَاءُ, we raise in rank whom we will. وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ, and above every person of knowledge is someone more knowledgeable. That's one explanation. Another, وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ, and above every person who has been endowed with knowledge is Allah, the bestower of knowledge, the all-knowing. Above every person who has been endowed with knowledge is the one who is most knowledgeable. But of course, the first explanation I gave is equally applicable. You come across this so many times. You might be knowledgeable in your field, but then you come across someone who knows more than you, right? Whichever field you're in, your job, your career, your business, you think you've been doing it for so long, and you know all the tricks of the trade, then you meet someone who knows more than you. قالوا إن يسرق فقد سرق أخ له من قبل. They said, إن يسرق. The brother said, إن يسرق. If he has stolen, فقد سرق أخ له من قبل. Then a brother before, a brother that he had also stolen. Oh my God. There's Yusuf standing right there. So if all what they have done is not enough to prove how to what lengths they could go to hurt Yusuf. Now, according to them, Yusuf alayhi salam is dead, right? Gone, out of the picture. But still, they go out of their way to pin some blame on Yusuf, which is that he had a brother. This is not even akhul lahu min qabl, gives you the understanding that some vague, some ambiguous guy, some brother that he had, akhul lahu, some brother that he had before, had also stolen. فَأَسَرَّهَا يُوسُفُ فِي نَفْسِهِ. Yusuf alayhi salam kept it in himself, sabr, kept it in himself. وَلَمْ يُبْدِهَا لَهُمْ. And he did not reveal it to them. قَالَ أَنْتُمْ شَرٌّ مَكَانًا. He said, obviously, Quran says he kept it to himself. So qala means he said this to himself. What did he say to himself? Antum sharrun makana. You are worse than I thought. Antum sharrun makana. You are in a very bad place. Wallahu a'lamu bima tasifun. And Allah, again he's thinking to himself, saying to himself, Wallahu a'lamu bima tasifun. Allah knows better what you are describing. Qalu ya ayyuhal aziz. They said, O Aziz, O ruler of the land, inna lahu aban. He has a father. Binyamin has a father. Shaykhan kabiran. As if shaykhan was not enough. No, it's not, because they want to emphasize that he had a very old father. Shaykh is used for something who has more. If you have more money, shaykh. If you have more knowledge, shaykh. If you're more in age, shaykh. Shaykhan kabiran. Very old father. فَخُذْ أَحَدَنَا مَكَانَهُ. Take one of us in his place, in Binyamin's place. إِنَّا نَرَاكَ مِنَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. We see you as someone who does good, who bestows favors. قَالَ مَعَاذَ اللَّهِ. He said, God forbid, أَن نَأْخُذَ إِلَّا مَنْ وَجَدْنَا مَتَاعَنَا عِنْدَهُ. That we should take someone else other than in whose bag we have found the bowl. To take someone else other than the one in whose bag we have found the bowl? You can't do that. Why should someone else be punished for someone else's crime? Inna idhal lavalimun. If we did that, we would be wrongdoers. Falamma stay'asu min. When they despaired from him, when they lost hope that this ruler of the land, Yusuf, is not going to give over Binyamin. فَلَمَّا اسْتَيْأَسُوا مِنْهُ. When they despaired for him, خَلَصُوا نَجِيًّا. خَلَصُوا نَجِيًّا. They went to a side. Let's talk. The brothers went to, said, let's huddle. You know huddle? So they said, let's huddle. Let's have a private conversation. قَالَ كَبِيرُهُمْ. The eldest said, أَلَمْ تَعْلَمُوا. Don't you know? أَنَّ أَبَاكُمْ. That indeed your father, قَدْ أَخَذَ عَلَيْكُمْ مَوْثِقًا مِنَ اللَّهِ, has taken a solemn oath from you in the name of Allah. وَمِن قَبْلُ مَا فَرَّطْتُمْ فِي يُوسُف. And before this, you had let him down in the matter of Yusuf. You fell short. فَرَّطْتُمْ. You fell short in the matter of Yusuf. فَرَّطْتُمْ. From their father, Yaqub alayhi salam's perspective, they had fallen short. فَلَنْ أَبْرَحَ الْأَرْضِ. So this is still the eldest brother speaking. فَلَنْ أَبْرَحَ الْأَرْضِ. I will not leave this land حَتَّى يَأْذَنَ لِي أَبِي. Till my father gives me permission, till my father instructs me to leave. I'm not going to leave Binyamin here alone. O يَحْكُمَ اللَّهُ لِي. Or Allah makes some judgment, or Allah decides something. Besides that, I'm not going to leave. وَهُوَ خَيْرُ الْحَاكِمِينَ. And he is the best of judges. إِرْجِعُوا إِلَىٰ أَبِيكُمْ. Go back to your father. فَقُولُوا. This is still the eldest brother speaking. إِرْجِعُوا. Speaking to his other 9 brothers. إِرْجِعُوا إِلَىٰ أَبِيكُمْ. Go back to your father. فَقُولُوا. And say, O our father, يَا أَبَانَا إِنَّ ابْنَكَ سَرَقَ. Your son. إِنَّ ابْنَكَ. This إِنَّ ابْنَكَ. This gives you the understanding that your son, you know that son that you had, that you liked so much, Binyamin? Inna ibnaka saraq. He stole. Yeah. وَمَا شَهِدْنَا إِلَّا بِمَا عَلِمْنَا. And we can only bear witness to what we know. That's what we saw. وَمَا كُنَّا لِلْغَيْبِ حَافِظِينَ. And we do not know the unseen. وَاسْأَلِ الْقَرْيَةَ الَّتِي كُنَّا فِيهَا. And ask the town people where we were. In Egypt, town people who were witness to all that happened. When the servants were going through our luggage, they found the bowl. There's a lot of people who are witness to this. وَالْعِيرَ الَّتِي أَقْبَلْنَا فِيهَا. And ask the people, the caravan with whom we were traveling with. Because there were not only 10 individuals traveling all by themselves through the Sinai Peninsula. They were what? A caravan. Probably 100, maybe more, maybe less. Ask them. وَإِنَّا لَصَادِقُونَ. And we are telling the truth. قَالَ بَلْ سَوَّلَتْ لَكُمْ أَنفُسُكُمْ أَمْرًا. Again, these words are the same words that Yaqub alayhi salam said when he lost Yusuf alayhi salam. قَالَ بَلْ سَوَّلَتْ لَكُمْ أَنفُسُكُمْ أَمْرًا. You are only pleasing your conscience. You are only removing guilt from yourself. بَلْ سَوَّلَتْ لَكُمْ أَنفُسُكُمْ أَمْرًا. فَصَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ. Patience is befitting. You can see that Yaqub alayhi salam, he's so distraught at this moment. فَصَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ. Sabrun Jameel in reality is just two words. Sabrun Jameel. Hey, patience is what? Beautiful. For Sabrun Jameel, different explanations have been given, but I'm just going to stick to patience. I'm just going to adopt patience. Patience is befitting. As if he could not even complete the sentence. Asallahu an ya'tiyani bihim jami'a. This is the optimism of a prophet. Asallahu an ya'tiyani bihim jami'a. Perhaps very soon Allah will bring all of them back to me. Perhaps very soon Allah will bring all of them back. Innahu huwal alimul hakim. He's all knowing, all wise. وَتَوَلَّ عَنْهُمْ. وَتَوَلَّ عَنْهُمْ. He turned away from them as if you couldn't bear to speak to them any longer. وَتَوَلَّ عَنْهُمْ. He turned their back. He turned his back to them. وَقَالَ يَا أَسَفَا. And he said, oh, my despair. Asafa. Asafa is anger and sorrow mixed together. Oh, my despair. Ala Yusuf, on Yusuf. Who does he remember now? At this point, he has lost 3 sons, right? Because Yusuf, Binyamin, and the eldest. Remember the eldest said, I'm staying, I'm not going back. So at this point, 3 sons. But who does he remember out of the 3? Yusuf. Ya asafa ala Yusuf. Oh, my regret. Oh, my remorse on Yusuf. وَيَدَّتْ عَيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْحُزْنِ فَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ. And he lost his eyesight out of suppressing his grief. قَالُوا تَاللَّهِ تَفْتَأُ تَذْكُرُ يُوسُفَ حَتَّى تَكُونَ حَرَدًا أَوْ تَكُونَ مِنَ الْحَالِكِينَ. They said, تَاللَّهِ, we swear by Allah, you will continue, you will keep on remembering Yusuf till you become weak, till you lose your health, or you die. In Urdu, if you want, I think Urdu will give you a better understanding of this ayat. Tallahi taftau tazkuru Yusuf. Yusuf, Yusuf, mar jaoge Yusuf, Yusuf karte karte. Understand? Yusuf, Yusuf, mar jaoge Yusuf, Yusuf karte karte, कहते कहते मर जाओगे. क्या Yusuf, Yusuf लगाए जब भी बोलो Yusuf, Yusuf. Tallahi taftau tazkuru Yusuf. Every time Yusuf, 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 you're going to die saying Yusuf, Yusuf, Yusuf. قال إنما أشكو بثي وحزني إلى الله. Yaqub alayhi salam said, I put my complaint of sorrow and grief, my petition, not complaint, my petition. I petition Allah of my sorrow and my grief. Bathi wa huzni is actually, in English you say sorrow and grief, but bathi is prolonged sorrow. and huzn is temporary. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made the exact same dua when returning from Taif. Remember when in Taif they pelted him with stones, and the three leaders, all three gave him a different answer, but all three were very, very rude to him. One of them said, Allah has not chosen anyone else besides you as a prophet. Another said, I don't want to talk to you, because if you are a prophet, then to listen to you and not to follow you would bring upon Allah's wrath. And if indeed you are not a prophet, then I don't want to talk to a liar. Anyhow, then that's the leaders, the three tribal leaders of Taif. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam started preaching to the common people of the town, of the village. And in every town you have those, what they call hooligans, scoundrels, troublemakers. They were told to give him a hard time. So they started throwing rocks at Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam left with his feet bleeding. And when he left the city limits of Taif, he said, "Innama ashku bathi wa huzni ila Allah." I petition Allah of my sorrow and my grief. Wa a'lamu min Allahi ma la ta'lamun. And then Yaqub alayhi salam says, I know regarding Allah what you do not know. Again, his optimism. I know Allah's promise. Ya baniya, O my sons, idhabu, go. This is now the third time they're going to go to Egypt. Idhabu, go. Fatahassasu min Yusuf. Search for Yusuf. Wa akhihi, and his brother. Which one? Binyamin. Looks like the third one is not being mentioned here. Search for Yusuf and his brother. Again, how does he know that Yusuf alayhi salam is alive? Because of the dream. وَلَا تَيْأَسُوا مِنْ رَوْحِ اللَّهِ, and do not despair in Allah's mercy. إِنَّهُ لَا يَيْأَسُ مِنْ رَوْحِ اللَّهِ إِلَّا الْقَوْمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. Only those who disbelieve, only the disbelievers, they despair in Allah's mercy. Okay, we'll stop here. Inshallah, we'll stop here. Okay. As I said, they go, all in all, they go to Egypt how many times? 4. So how many times have they gone so far? 2. Now, inshallah, we'll continue.